You should watch how this Nico Iamaleava situation unfolds, though, if you are a Big 12 fan. And I'm not just talking about because Colorado had been one of the schools, like kind of briefly mentioned as maybe a landing spot for Nico. That gets to be really tricky, right? Because they've already got Juju Lewis lined up for the future. They've got Caden Salter from Liberty. That becomes a really crowded quarterback room. You'd have to really believe in the upside, I think, of Nico there if you're going to bring that in and upset the apple cart with Julian Lewis. There's more to watch here on how this unfolds if you're a Big 12 fan, because there could be Tennessee coming hard after Big 12 quarterbacks. Look, Tennessee's going to be on the prowl now. Portal opens in 3 days, spring portal. They are going to be charging. Am I off on 3 days? The portal opens next week at some point, if I'm not mistaken. Football spring portal. Everyone's going to have to be on guard here now because they're going to be back channeling looking for somebody. They're going to want somebody. Tennessee is an SEC school. They were in the playoff. They've got a 100,000 seat stadium. It's one of the best environments in college football. There's a hell of a lot to sell there for Tennessee. And here's the reality of what we know about the Big 12. It's where everybody comes to try and grab coaches. So if everybody's coming to try and grab coaches, whether it be offensive coordinators, head coaches, how many coaching searches have we seen the last 2 or 3 years that involve all three of Chris Kleiman, Lance Leipold, Matt Campbell? The Matt Campbell stuff has been going on for like 7 years at this point. Offensive coordinator Andy Kotelnick, he goes to Penn State, takes them to the semifinals of the playoff. Colin Klein goes to Texas A&M. They have a better year last year. Everybody wants to come to the Big 12 to get coaches. A lot of great coaching here. Well, the same is going to be true for quarterbacks. I saw some initial lists that were popping out from like the Tennessee message boards of who they wanted to go after. And lo and behold, there were 3 quarterbacks that kept coming up there from the Big 12. Avery Johnson at K-State, Sam Levit at Arizona State, even Jalen Daniels at Kansas. Saw a little bit of that. So look, on one hand, very flattering for the Big 12. This is what I always say around the coaching conversation. Like, hey, you should be flattered. It means you have great coaches. You must be doing something right in your league if everybody is trying to come after your coaches. Congratulations to the Big 12 on that front. But it gets stressful. And now the same is here with your quarterbacks. Pretty good younger quarterbacks. I mean, this is sort of the recipe, right? Like, you get a young-ish quarterback with a high upside. I mean, if we're going to talk about Avery Johnson and Sam Levit, they're the same class as Nico Iamaleava and have arguably shown more promise. I mean, I think fair to say, like, Sam Levit has certainly shown more promise. Avery Johnson had, I think, kind of a similar year to Nico, maybe slightly better, but not in the SEC, right? So that's a big difference. Those are the types of guys that they are going to target. They're going to come to the Big 12 and figure, well, we can pay more and we'll be able to lure this guy because of the SEC. Now, it's a tough time to be doing it. As I said, these can be lose-lose situations because you leave this late in the game after spring football. It is not at all the ideal time to be doing it. But you can see why Tennessee starts turning their attention toward this. Because of the circumstances, it's going to be even harder to pull somebody intra-conference or somebody from the Big 10 or whatever. So you start looking, Big 12 ACC, who can we snag? Who can we snag? I see Bracket Cat, saying ACC quarterbacks would seem to me to be more poachable and more regionally known. Very well could be, certainly from a regionality standpoint, that would make sense. I can just tell you that, like, for the Sam Levit thing, I think I had told you guys this on another show, and at this point I've seen it enough places. I don't really think it's that big of a secret, but Sam Levit, Oregon definitely kicked the tires on that, the first wave of the portal back in the winter. So Sam Levit is someone who's really highly coveted. That makes all the sense in the world. I would think if you have a list and you're Tennessee, he may be number one on the list, because a lot of these guys that have been putting together their lists of the top 10 quarterbacks for the upcoming season in college football, you're seeing Sam Levit in the top 3, the top 5 of a lot of these lists. And I can't blame him. Dude's tough, really athletic. Just seems like a playmaker, seems like a guy that has that it factor. And that was on full display in Arizona State's run to the playoff last year. So it's already been out there. Now, Arizona State fended that off. They kept him around, and tip of the cap on that front. So I would doubt that happens, but I suppose you never know. I would also very much doubt the Avery Johnson piece of that. When we're talking about how much money Tennessee would pay here, I think I don't think Tennessee is going to be paying Avery Johnson if they would try to lure him much more or any more than what K-State is already paying him right now. He's already paid like a top quarterback in the sport, would be an educated guess. So I don't think if they weren't willing to pay for, like, and that's the thing, if you weren't going to overspend, right, to keep your quarterback, Nico Iamaleava, who's making these crazy demands, are you then going to go and spend a similar amount of money to pull somebody away, lure somebody out of the portal? I feel like you'd have to find somebody that is a little behind the curve on the NIL front, probably, if that's going to be your play and your angle, and make that sort of an impact there. And K-State, I mean, regardless of how you feel of how successful it's been, I mean, we saw the basketball storyline last year. They spent a lot of money, like a ton of money. K-State does have some NIL money right now. So I don't think that Tennessee is going to come in and be throwing splashing a bunch more money around. And then, the overall situation for Avery Johnson right now is that he's already paid like a top quarterback in the sport. He's got, I think, a guy that he really wanted at offensive coordinator in Matt Wells, kind of his dude that he worked with as the quarterback coach last year. By all accounts, seemed very happy with the promotion of him to offensive coordinator. He got his top weapon back, Jace Brown, who's also a friend and roommate. His family obviously is very close by. And again, we're in the middle of spring football. Like, be a very abrupt transition in what is a hugely important year for Avery Johnson and his development. Because, first year, he gets his feet wet, plays a little bit. Last year, first year as the starter, lots of ups and downs. Statistically, pretty solid, but some real downs. That BYU game, the Houston game, K-State fans had a lot of frustration at times with Avery Johnson. This is a massive year if he's going to realize the potential he has at the collegiate level. It's a massive year. So if you would take all that and say, well, basically at the end of spring ball, I'm just going to cut bait, go start a totally new situation, leave all of that, and anticipate that things are going to get better then when I'm going up against SEC defenses with all, I mean, more power to you. But I seriously doubt this happening. I know I'm going to have a lot of K-State fans watching this. I am not very worried at all by this situation. So I would doubt those two. I don't know. Look, the only reason Jalen Daniels, I just saw on the one list from a Tennessee fan. He's a part of the reason too. Another Big 12 quarterback who is shown to have a really high ceiling. Who, there were rumors about the transfer portal for him for a long time. It seemed like kind of a weird situation with Kansas last year because, a lot of fans were very disappointed with Daniels and how he played last year. But that's all very, very speculative. But for sure, you're seeing a lot more smoke on the Sam Levit, Avery Johnson front in terms of who Tennessee would try to go make a run at. And even without all of that, I think just the situation the Big 12 is in right now, anytime something big like this happens upstream in the Big 10 or the SEC, they're going to come target Big 12 coaches, quarterbacks, because there are really good quarterbacks and coaches in this conference. They're going to come running this way. You're just going to have to deal with fending them off. And for any SEC fans who might be watching this and sitting around thinking, well, this will be easy pickings. I mean, it hasn't been with the coaches. There have been a lot of people come sniffing around the coaches, and it has not been nearly as easy as I think a lot of SEC or Big 10 fans would have anticipated as far as that goes. So anyway, that is the update, I think, right now on this situation. It's definitely, this is not, I guess, the way to put it in Midwest terms for everybody, right? I just say thunderstorm watch, not thunderstorm warning. Certainly not tornado warning. Just a watch. Conditions are ripe where something could happen, but there's no imminent danger. That's